These are the corrections that you have to turn in on Wednesday. Remember, question 3 times that you got wrong, correct answer 3 times, and I now know 1 time. Now, we already went over some of these. The first thing you do is highlight the question. So, number 1, which of the following suggests that the shape of an enzyme determines the enzyme's function? The second thing you do is circle or underline. So, shape of an enzyme determines function. So now you're going to go ahead and write what you know. Number 3. And what do you know? Enzymes are proteins. They're made up of amino acids. They're also helper. They end in ase, like Jose's only helps Jose's. Jenny's only helps Jenny's. Can Jenny's help Jose? No, because they're specific, like a lock and key. Only a key goes into a certain lock. pH and temperature are what damage them. So, A, enzymes are specific to a substrate. Yes, that says here. Enzymes can operate in a wide range of conditions. Well, pH and temperature damages them if they're too acidic or too basic or too hot or too cold. Enzymes are activated by neighboring molecules. Maybe. Enzymes can be found in all life forms. Maybe. But what is it asking you? What do we circle? Shape. What about the shape? So a lock and key, those are the shapes, right? That they're specific. I now know that enzymes are specific to substrates. Number 2, which statement correctly identifies a difference in the structure of proteins and polysaccharides? We did this together. Make sure you highlight the question, then you underline and circle what's important. Correctly identifies differences, proteins, and polysaccharides. And now what do you know about it? Carbohydrates, sugar, monomer are polysaccharides, right? They're sugars. Amino acids are the monomers that make up proteins. Letter A says cytosine, adenine, guanine, thymine. That's DNA. Only proteins are formed from amino acids joined by peptide bonds. Yes, isn't that what we wrote? Proteins, amino acids, peptide bond, that's protein. Only polysaccharides can be folded and twisted to specific shapes. Look it up. That's a protein. Only proteins can be large molecules with thousands of subunits. Monomers. That's what subunits means. That proteins are made up of monomers. That's true. But is it only them? No. Look at sugars. They also have it. So your answer was G, like giraffe. I now know that proteins are made of amino acid monomers and saccharides are made of sugar monomers. 3. Both euglena, eukaryotic, and cyanobacteria, prokaryotic, are photosynthetic unicellular organisms found in pond water. You're supposed to highlight the feature that distinguishes euglena from cyanobacteria is the, and what is it asking you? Distinguishes. That means different, diferente. Euglena, cyanobacteria, what is that? It tells you up here. Bacteria, prokaryotic. Eukaryotic, euglena. That's a plant, by the way. So eukaryotic, me, animals, fungi, plants, protists, has membrane-bound organelles like a nucleus, little organelles, right? Organelitos chiquitos. It has ribosomes. Prokaryote is a bacteria. No nucleus. No membrane-bound organelles. No tiene organelitos chiquitos. It doesn't have little organs. Ribosomes, it does have. So, maintain homeostasis, that means balance. They both do that. I'm looking for something that's different. Ribosomes make proteins. They both have that. I'm looking for something that's different. Ability to reproduce, they both do that. Is that different? No. Presence of nuclear membrane, yes. Only you have, or these have a eukaryotic nuclear membrane, right? And prokaryotes don't. I now know that a eukaryotic cell has membrane-bound organelles, nucleus, and prokaryotic cells do not. All right, let's move on. Number 4. Highlight, however, on a gram-for-gram basis, lipids provide cells with more. What is it asking you in this question or sentence? Lipids provide cells with more what? Fat, long-term energy, like lonjas, it's for later. Carbs provide you with sugars, so it's not that. Proteins provide you with structure, hair, nails, skin, bones. That's your structure. Nucleic acid provides you with DNA. So the answer was energy, J. I now know that lipids give me more energy. Which of the following biomolecules typically contains both nitrogen and phosphate? So I underline biomolecules because that's what it's asking me about. Both nitrogen and phosphate. Carbohydrates has CHO. Proteins has chons. Nucleic acid has chonp. Lipids has CHO. So I'm looking for nitrogen and phosphate, and I see here that it is in nucleic acid. C is your answer. I now know nitrogen and phosphate are found in nucleic acids. This one's very important. If enzyme 2 is denatured, what does enzyme 2 and denatured mean? Denatured means destroyed, so take it out. Now, this enzyme is a helper. It's helping lactose produce galactose. And then enzyme 2 is supposed to help galactose produce galactose 1-phosphate as a product. But is it going to do it? No. So then what's going to increase if this is gone? The one that's left, the product here. Galactose was your answer. So we continue on number 7. Highlight the question or what it's asking you. Based on their observations, pepsin most likely aids in digestion in which part of the human body? So next we underline or circle what's important. Pepsin, that's what it's talking about, aids in digestion, human body. And what do these things mean? Aids means to help. If you're an aid, you're an helper. Digestion means to break down. Do I know what pepsin is? No. So I have to look up here at the chart. I mean the graph. It's a graph. pH, here's pepsin, I highlight it, and then it's closer to acid. So, acid. Is that the pancreas, intestine, mouth, or stomach? You might not know about these other ones. You should know that it's not in your mouth. But the stomach is what has acid. I now know that the stomach has acid pH. That was your answer. 8. The enzyme lactase, I know it's an enzyme because it ends in ase, will break down the sugar lactose into which of the following components? I highlight enzyme lactase. That's what it's talking about. Break down, which means it's going to destroy something maybe. Sugar lactose, right? Ose means sugar, like glucose, lactose. Which component? So what is it going to break sugar into is what it's asking you. Sugar is a carbohydrate. I write down what I know. It's a saccharide, right? A monomer. So that was your answer. Nucleic acid is DNA. Amino acids are proteins. Phospholipids are lipids or fats. So which one was the sugar? Saccharides. I now know that carbohydrates, sugars are saccharides. Next. Which of the following trends is supported by the data shown? So trends, supported, data. I have to look at the graph, guys. And before I even look at the answers, I highlight years, temperature, CO2. I see that it's going up, it's going up. It's going down, it's going down. It's going up, it's going up. You see that? As carbon dioxide levels have increased, which means up, global temperatures have increased. They went up. Is that true? If one went up, the other one went up? Yes, that's your answer. Changes in levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere do not have an effect on global temperatures. Notice how I'm underlining what's important here also. What is it telling me? Do not have an effect. Well, if it goes up, does the other one go up? Yeah, it does have an effect on it. The amounts of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere have remained the same over time. Did it stay the same? I don't know about you, but it looks like it's going up and down and up. It doesn't look like it stays the same. Global temperatures have decreased as carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere have increased. Is one going up and one going down? No. I now know I have to look at and analyze the graph. That's where the answers were. Next, both proteins and complex carbohydrates are which of the following? Both proteins, carbohydrates. What do I know about this? I have to write what I know. A lot of you are not doing that. Amino acid is the monomer that makes up a protein. So these little circles have AA, amino acid, amino acid, amino acid. This is a protein made up of a lot of amino acids. Carbohydrates are sugars, saccharides, monomers, one hexagon or one pentagon. You put them together, they make a carbohydrate. So polymers of smaller subunits, do they make up from monomers? Yes, that was your answer. Sugars, are they both sugars? No. Lipids, are they both lipids? No. DNA? No. I now know that proteins and carbohydrates are polymers of smaller monomers. This is the wall that makes up this brick. A carbohydrate is made up from, this is the wall that's made up from the brick. So a carbohydrate is made up of sugars. A protein is made up of amino acids. Yes? Okay, next. Which of the following is the most effective pesticide for controlling this pest species? So, most effective pesticide, that means kills pests, controlling pests. You all didn't highlight that remaining means survivors. So, which one has the most survivors? S and U have the most survivors. That's not what we're looking for, though. We're not looking for survivors. We're looking for what kills the pest. And that was this one, because it has the least survivors. I now know that pesticide kills pests. T was your answer. This one. What would the students predict the number of bubbles to be at distance of 50 of the light? So, number of bubbles. We're looking for bubbles here. Highlight it. 50. Is 50 here from the light? No, you have to write it down. And how is this going? 38, 21, 8, 4. It's going down. So the next number would be probably 2. That's your answer. I now know I have to highlight and analyze the chart. You have to know what the chart is telling you guys. All right, next. So number 13 says, which information is supported by the graph? So supported graph. Do you have to look at the graph? Yes, it asks you to look at the graph. So let's look at it. Mass, highlight it. Oxygen, highlight it. Notice how there's 100 here, 10,000, 0, 1,000. It's going down and it's going this way, right? You see the numbers? All right. The oxygen consumption of an organism is 1/2 its body mass. 1/2 is the math. So you're going to have to do some math here. I'll leave it for later. The oxygen consumption of an organism is not related to its body mass. Do you see different numbers here, different dots, that they're not related? No, they're related, obviously, because there's only one dot here that puts them together. As the body mass of an organism increases, that means go up. So is the mass going up? Yes. Oxygen consumption decreases. Is the oxygen going down? Yes. That's your answer. As the body mass of an organism decreases, so is it decreasing here? No, decreasing would go this way. Oxygen consumption decreases. That one is correct, but this one is not correct. It's not decreasing, it's increasing. Some of you chose letter D, and that's not your answer. You chose it because you saw it going down, but you didn't notice here maybe that there's 1,000 there and there's a 0 here. So that's increasing. Your answer was C. I now know I need to also underline and circle the answers because the answers tell you what's going on. Next, which of the cells characterized in the chart below as a prokaryotic cell? Underline cells, circle, prokaryotic. And what is that? Write it down. Remember, a prokaryote is a bacteria. And it's always going to be a bacteria. And it's only going to be a bacteria. So they have no membrane-bound organelles, no little organs like the nucleus. They have a cell membrane, they have a cell wall, they have a ribosome and cytoplasm. So which one here is the only one without a nucleus? That's your answer. I now know that prokaryotes, bacteria, do not have a nuclear membrane. Next. What is the primary function of DNA in organisms? So primary means first, number one, primero. Function, what it does, función, right? Job. DNA, nucleic acid. Genetic instructions are nucleic acid. That's your DNA, right? It's who you are. So binds to a specific active site. That's the enzyme. That's a protein. That's not DNA. Stores genetic information. Isn't that what we wrote here? Transports amino acids to the ribosome? No, that's protein stuff. Produces chromosomes for sexual reproduction? Sure, it makes chromosomes for sexual reproduction, but before that, I have to know, well, whose, right? Whose sexual reproduction? Is this going to be a female or male? Is it going to be the hair of the person or the skin? You need to know the genetic information first so you can know what chromosomes are being made. So B was your answer. I now know DNA stores genetic information. I like this one. Which of the following best represents what the cell structure of these organisms may have looked like? So, represents cell structure, and over here it's a prokaryote. And what is that again? Prokaryote? Bacteria. It's always going to be bacteria. It's only going to be bacteria. They don't have a nucleus. They don't have little organs. So which of these looks like it doesn't have a nucleus or little organs? Can't you see it's this one right here? It only has DNA, guys. And that is not a ball. This is a ball. This is a ball. This is a nucleus. Where's the little dot here? It looks like spaghetti. It has to look like a spaghetti. It's the DNA. I now know prokaryotes bacteria do not have membrane-bound organelles. G was your answer. You got that one wrong, please draw G 3 times. That's easy to draw. It's just an oval. 17. Which of the following statements is true? Eukaryotes have a DNA genome, but prokaryotes only have RNA genome. Eukaryotes are animals, plants, fungi, protists. That's a eukaryote. They have DNA. Well, you are a part of this. Do you have DNA? Yeah. What about prokaryotes? Didn't we just see one? Does it have DNA and RNA? It says RNA, and you saw DNA, so that's not your answer. Eukaryotes do not have cell walls, but all prokaryotes do. Well, a eukaryote is also a plant, a fungi, a protist, and guess what? They have cell walls. You don't, but they do. Eukaryotes do not have a nucleus. You do. You have a nucleus. Prokaryotes do have DNA containing region. Anyway, that one's wrong because it says not. Eukaryotes contain organelles. Do you have little organelles? Let's look at the pictures again. Do you see these little organelles? Yes. You do have a mitochondria and a chloroplast. Prokaryotes, they lack or don't have these. I now know eukaryotes are animals, plants, fungi, protists that have a nucleus. All of these have a nucleus. Bacteria don't. Which of these best completes the concept map? Well, it has chloroplast, highlight it, and draw a little chloroplast. It has little coin-looking thylakoids. It's supposed to be green. We don't have that. Cellulose is in rigid coat, which is a cell wall. We don't have that. So animals don't have that. Bacteria, virus, the answer is plant. I now know plants have cell wall and chloroplast. A molecule with a structure composed primarily of amino acids would be classified in which of the following groups? Amino acids are proteins. The monomer or the brick that makes the protein is the amino acid. Without the brick, you don't have the protein wall. So lipids are made up of fatty acids. Proteins, yes. Nucleic acids are made up of nucleotide bricks. Carbohydrate is made up of sugar, saccharide, remember? I now know proteins are made of amino acid monomers. So that's your answer, protein. Which of the following biomolecules should he avoid eating? Mike is diabetic, which means he doesn't or should not have sugar. Sugar gets too high. We don't want it to get too high. Biomolecules are carbs, lipids, which are fats, proteins, amino acids. Do you eat nucleic acid? No. So avoid eating is not going to be DNA. Hello. You don't eat DNA and get it inside of you. You get that from your parents, guys, when you're born. So candy, fruit is an example. The answer was simple carbohydrates, which are sugars. I now know diabetics cannot have simple carbs or candy fruit. This wax coating is which of the following types of organic molecules? Again, waxy. What are organic molecules? You just said them. It's the same thing as biomolecules. Carbs, they're made of sugars. Lipids, they're made of fat. Nucleic acid is DNA. Proteins are made up of amino acids. They're your hair, nails, muscles, skin. So, wax is fat. It's a lipid, guys. I now know that wax is a fat lipid. Look at this right here. Do you see how many layers? I colored it. 1 layer, two-layer. That's called a lipid bilayer because it's made up of fat. This is your cell membrane, F. I now know the cell membrane is a lipid bilayer that surrounds the cells. So again, we want someone that's big that says, you can't come in here. Yeah, okay, you can come in here. The cell membrane tells what can go in and what can go out of the cell. It allows things to come in and out of the cell. Can everything go in? No, you'd get sick. That means semi-permeable. The function of this structure is, so function, función, what it does, of this right here. I just said it. Store hereditary information. Guys, that's the nucleus. That's DNA, the brain. Produce the cell's energy. That's the mighty mitochondria, the powerhouse, remember? No, and it makes ATP energy. Regulate what goes in and out of the cell. Yep, that's what we said. In and out of the cell, like a bouncer in a club. Organized cell division, those are the centrioles, the churros. I now know that cell membrane regulates what goes in and out of the cell. So please make sure that you listen to what I said because it's going to teach you. You don't just want to grade, you want to pass that EOC. You want to learn this material, especially if you feel you didn't get it in class. Now, I am going to be in tutorial Mondays and Thursdays after school. Please make sure you complete these corrections 3 times the correct answer with the wrong question 3 times that you got wrong. 1 time, I now know, so that hopefully you now know it. These are due on Wednesday, or you keep your low grade.